All right, folks, welcome back in to the first edition of the High School Huddle for the 2022-23 school year. I'm still AJ Feldman. He's still Carl Jones, and we are still your one-stop shop for all things and everything Section 5 sports. Carl, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. I feel like last time I saw you was like a couple weeks ago. But, last time I spoke to you guys on this platform a couple weeks ago, summer flew by, like, for real. Like, I vividly remember, the Section 5 championships for lacrosse and how exciting that was. And, Bill's training camp came and then boom, gone. And now I'm looking forward to, Friday Night Lights again, baby.
Yeah, we had an eventful summer. We found out we have our most famous listener, Von Miller, an avid listener of the High School Huddle podcast, at least little snippets of it.
Yeah, that was a fun experience, especially seeing him at Bill's training camp. He goes like, "Hey, you Carl Jones?" I'm like, I hope I didn't tweet nothing about you, like bad about you in the past, but if I did, like, yeah, this is me. And then, yeah, he acknowledged me from that clip that went viral with my eyes popping. But it was all love, always good to see that someone of his stature definitely see some of the work that we're doing for sure.
Yeah, so, Von Miller, clearly he is our big fan. We are his Section 5 podcast of choice. So nice to see that. And hopefully we can live up to his expectations for this upcoming school year. We got a lot of stuff planned for you this year, a lot of stuff coming down the line, but we've got high school sports finally kicking into gear. Games started up earlier this week for, soccer, or volleyballs, things of that nature. Football frenzy starting this Friday. Big week of games, but Carl, you and I have been doing some training camp visits. Not exactly the Peter King training camp tour. We're sticking local, but yeah, we've been getting out there to some Section 5 football practices. Carl, give us some stories from your travels here.
Yeah, I had to pop it off with the Vertus Warriors. I had to start things off with them. Last year, we did a story on how they're like creating a football team in an era where most teams are cutting back, taking away their football teams, but they're, I guess, going against the grain a little bit and creating their own. Last year, they had a JV season where they went 4-2, and now they're in the major leagues now. They're going up to Class C. They're up to 40 kids, which is kind of like unusual, and like shout out to them for getting 40 kids out in this day and age, especially. It was fun. They were energetic. The kids were excited, and they popped things off with Gananda, the defending sectional champ. So they're gonna have to be ready week one. But talking to OC Bennett, the head coach over there, he's an energetic guy. If you've ever been around him, just like a leader of men, as he likes. You can really get that vibe around him. Talking to the quarterback, Malachi Jones, he was excited to play, and just being under the lights and playing on Fridays and just getting those crowds that like every kid dreams of when you're a kid, like when you first put on that helmet. So just excited for those kids to have that opportunity to play at the varsity level, and we'll see if they'll be able to handle that load.
Yeah, my initial reaction is, first off, do we know what OC Bennett stands for?
No, his name is OCIE. Like, I don't know if that's like...
Gotcha. Because I was going to go into a tangent. So my uncle has a cousin who was born on Christmas, and his name is On Christmas Calhoun. He is OC Calhoun. So that is why I had to go to that first.
I never heard of nothing like that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
OC Calhoun, On Christmas Calhoun.
No, nothing clever like that over here. His name is actually OC, like OCI.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It's got to be a little tough when, someone tries to get a hold of the offensive coordinator. He's standing right next to him. Like, they're calling for OC. Like, who am I talking to? But, Vertus, they're excited about this football program. They reached out to us last year. Good to see another team in the fold. And, like you said, a tough task. We'll talk about ERG in a little bit. But, props to the Warriors for starting a football program here.
Yeah, Class C isn't just ER. I know last year seeing Leroy and Haverly, they got some squads as well. So they'll have their hands full in the first season. And then after that, I went out to Spencerport, out the home of the Rangers. And I've been wanting to, talk to that coaching staff because they do something unique that I don't believe any other team in Section 5 does, to my knowledge. They run the wing tee. I don't know if I'm sure people who know are familiar with the wing tee. A lot of that option misdirection stuff in the back in the backfield. You don't know who has the ball until someone breaks it for 60 yards down the field. Is a very unique style, and as a person who's filming it, it's annoying. I told Coach that he understands that. Like, I don't know who has the ball half of the time, so I'm just guessing. Got to follow the lineman. But shout out to them though. I mean, they really pride themselves on that style and being physical. And the kids were juiced up when I asked them about it. Jackson Burns, one of the linemen, I go like, man, how does it feel to run that style of ball? He goes, oh man, I love it. When you're coming through the hole, hitting someone in the mouth time after time. I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, man, I'm just the camera guy. You ain't got to hit me. Like, come on, bro. No, but they're really energetic about it. And going off of that, I mean, they've been ascending in the right direction the past few years. I mean, 2 sectional semifinals losses last year, coming up short in the sectional final to Canandaigua. But they ain't got to worry about Canandaigua no more. They're not in the same division anymore. They're in A1. So we'll see if they can continue that ascension and cap things off with their sectional title. And Jackson Burns was bold. You know, he mince no words. My man said in a quick 5-minute excerpt, we're going to win it all in the section. We're going to win the sectionals this year. So clearly they got an expectation. Clearly they're setting their bar high. And it was just very exciting to be around that enthusiasm this early in the year.
Yeah, not exactly ideal for the cameramen. Not quite exactly ideal for the fans who, you know, you want to see them aired out a little bit, but hey, winning's winning. You know, that's what it all comes down to. So you win games, you score points. You know, people don't care what the hell you do on offense as long as you score some points. So they're certainly been doing that. You also got UPrep coming up. Carl's going out there talking to him today. So you'll get that on RochesterFirst.com coming up as they're trying to defend their title, get up to Class AA. Playing with the big boys now. And I went out to a couple schools as well. East Rochester Gananda, previously mentioned, the aforementioned Class C champs. They made it all the way to the state semifinals for the first time in program history. They got a new coach this year, Tim Rose, stepping in. He was an assistant last year. Brian Taranjo retiring last year, going out on top, pulling a John Elway. So you got a new coaching staff in there. You still got Manny Sepulveda out there, of course, you know, physical freak out at wide receiver, especially to Class C school, state triple jump champion, getting D1 looks at both football and for track and field. Probably leaning more on the track and field side, but he's getting some football looks, you know, some interest. I mentioned UB, schools of that nature. So, you know, a big season for him upcoming. They've got a lot of moving pieces. They lost 4 guys on the offensive line. They lost, you know, Chauncey Gilbert. They lost their quarterback. So outside of Manny Sepulveda, you got Manny Sepulveda to the Rock. It's all going to be about what they go around him. You know, Manny can only do so many things if they got 3 guys covering him every single game. So it's going to be big to see how much they can protect their new quarterback, Braden Dozie. I believe I'm saying that last name right. I'm going to have to figure out before Saturday. And you know, the new offensive line, new guys stepping up, but ERG, they're still feeling the buzz. The home of champions, I believe they call themselves.
Yeah, and we followed that run obviously last year because it was their first time ever doing it, and I feel like that school itself, like that, the vibes and the energy around that team and the run that they went on was really like cool to be around. I know the girls had a similar run, making it to I believe the state Final Four, I believe, or the final the championship, one of the two. But I know
state Final Four, yeah.
They went on a great run as well, and just the vibe around that school because it's a smaller school, Class C division, and just seeing when they're doing great, how you know everyone comes together and vibes around it is cool to see. And like you said, I mean, Manny Sepulveda is an extraordinary talent. I went to one of the district track meets, and you get to see him up close in person. You're like, oh yeah, he's a real deal. But we still got to give him the pill. We got to give him the ball somehow. So I'm rooting for him and his success, and we'll see how that shakes out this year. Yeah,
especially East Rochester. The one thing I really know, they get out for their field hockey teams in droves too. They got the drums. I believe it's the boys soccer team who's typically out there for the field hockey team. So the support's going all the way around at ERG. So good to see that. And they also got it to Canandaigua. You know, Canandaigua, a dominant force in recent years. They've won every sectional championship since I've gotten here. So clearly, I guess I'm you know, their good luck charm. But they lost a lot last year. They lost a ton. They lost an aggressive amount of players. They lost their quarterback, Brian Boldrin. And then just everybody else who basically touches the football who ever made it onto our highlight sheet. Brady Camella, Ryan Gavette, Jackson Grant, Elliot Morgan, Callum Outhouse, Eric Platten. Goodbye. Enjoy college. You know, stay safe, be responsible. But we got some new guys in the fold. You got Drew Willamy, the new quarterback. Did some stuff on the lacrosse field last year. You know, I was talking to, you know, head coach Jeff Welch, who is also the son of former longtime Ithaca Bomber head coach Mike Welch, my alma mater as well. So we got some chats about the Ithaca College days as well. But Drew Willamy got some high praise from his coach. He's like, yeah, this kid, he's just been born to do it. He's been working his entire life. He just wants to be the Canandaigua starting quarterback, and now he is. So he's gonna get a chance to go on a little 3-year run of his own as just a sophomore stepping into that role.
I watched Canandaigua play a couple times last year. I didn't get to see him a ton. That was some of your guys more covered, but they was legit. And they was taking down some teams that was swinging too. I mean, East had some athletes last year, and Canandaigua said, "Yeah, so what?" So I mean, they're young players, but also they were able to see that experience. They were behind those guys and being able to see the stones that they put down in front of them. So hopefully that experience helps them out. But it's nothing like doing it yourself. So the Braves, they're gonna have to trial by fire a little bit, thrown into the fire a little bit and see what y'all built about for real.
A little bit, and their schedule, it's a little soft this season, just with the way things worked out. Certainly compared to last year, who knows what this year is going to bring? But on paper, they only have one team that they play this year that had a winning record last season, so they're going to get some time to ease in these new players. And I also talked to Jeff about it as well. They won their games by an average of 4 scores. That's not a hyperbole. They won their games by an average of 4 touchdowns a game. And I asked them, you guys got all these, new players coming in. But they got a lot of reps in the fourth quarter of every single game last year. He's like, yeah, you're right. Playing time is playing time. It might not be starting the game, but it certainly helps. But Canandaigua trying to, continue their run. They have not lost a game against Section 5 opponents since the beginning of the 2019 season, when they lost their season opening game to Victor. So that's what we got coming for you. You can watch all those stories on rochesterfirst.com. Once again, we got UPrep coming on News 8 tonight. Now let's look ahead a little bit. Kind of an overall season preview, a quick little season preview. Carl, what's kind of the one thing that you're really looking forward to watching in this 2022 high school football season here in Section 5?
Well, the division that I believe, has some movement, guys. Teams coming up, teams coming down. AA, they got my eye. There's a strong 5 in that where, I'm not going to say any of these teams can win, but any given Friday or Saturday, someone can pull out a dub. Are y'all ready? Y'all ready for this 5? Okay, here we go.
I'm ready.
You got Aquinas. You got Amaje Giddens coming back. I know they lost some quality guys in that backfield, but, Aquinas, private school, they're always going to reload. Similar to McQuaid, they lost even more pieces, especially on the outside. But, boy, I know that JV squad was ready. They're going to be able to bring out good things this year. They got clearly a lot of pride and tradition over there, winning some the previous 2, I believe 2.
3. We're up to 3 now.
I'm tired of selling them boys short. 3 people. See if they're going for 4 this year, right? Then UPrep, beneficiary, they're coming up to AA. They won a sectional A1 title last year. Now you with the big dogs this year. We'll see if you'll be able to repeat that success with some of the athletes that they have, especially in the underclass. Victor, they had some competitive games last year, so we'll see if they can duplicate some of that success and even enhance it this year. And then obviously Pittsburgh, I don't know what happened on the back half of the season. Actually, AJ told everyone what happened last year. It was a Jackson Green show. The last 5 games of the year, you gave the ball to Jackson Green and great things happened. He's back for another year. So if they can even take it to even greater heights this year, Pittsburgh will be no joke, nothing to play around with. That's a 5 right there that any given Friday or Saturday, they can mess around. And especially this early in the year where we don't really know what these teams look like. We're going off of last year. But going off some of those names and the tradition of some of those teams, that's a strong 5 right there, man. Really, really strong 5.
Yeah, last year in Class AA, kind of after maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks of the season, we were kind of like, okay, Aquinas, McQuaid, clearly at the top. We'll see what everybody else can do, and then, like you said, Pittsburgh descended to the top with Jackson Green, Caleb Lewis, Caleb Lewis wins the award for name that I almost called a member of the Buffalo Bills like 10,000 times. It was so difficult not to call Cam Lewis Caleb Lewis, just because I got, he was basketball, he was football. So I said a lot of Caleb Lewis, Cam Lewis. It was really difficult to keep those 2 apart. I am pretty sure in all of our training camp coverage, I did not say Caleb Lewis, but Caleb Lewis is back. He plays high school football for Pittsburgh. He's the quarterback, and he's going to be really good as well. Jackson Green as well. They could set some passing records there. But like you said, we've got that core 5 where, especially since, they're all playing against each other, we've got at least 1 or 2 games right off the bat. Every single week we're going to have 1 or 2 games at Class AA where, this is our statement game. This is the game that we're going to watch. and right off the bat, we've got, we'll talk about AQ McQuaid in a little bit, but also UPrep Victor. I think UPrep Victor is like, if I could pick a team for UPrep to play in week 1 to kind of figure out where they stand in Class AA, I would pick it to be Victor, because Victor is that team that, they were, right at the cusp of that tier 2. So this is going to be a good measuring point game. And, Victors, they're always big. They're always physical. They can always run the ball. So I think that's a great, measuring stick game for UPrep right off the bat to see how they fare in this Class AA region.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that, because I mean, this is a drop off after that 5, and who knows going into this year about some of the other teams like Fairport what they can bring this year. But Victor, you're right. They're kind of the measuring stick. So if UPrep, to handle business week 1, I think AA gonna be real interesting this year. I think the FanDuel is gonna have to adjust some things if UPrep handles business week 1.
Exactly. The futures are going like crazy here. I'm going to take a look at just the bracket 1 down and Class A1. We mentioned a little bit of this going up, going down. Obviously UPrep going up, but you got Class A1. You've got Hilton coming down to A1, and Hilton was kind of in that Victor tier last year where, they give teams run for their money. They did beat Aquinas in the final week of the regular season last year. But they were just always a team that was, average, middling at 500. Not a very exciting team to watch. They're 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and they don't usually get that 50 yard. It's not Spencerport. It's not 3 yards, 50 yards. It's 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards first down. And they'll do that. This is no knock on Hilton, but they will run it probably, a lot of the times. They did have some big tight ends last year, but Hilton's a team. Now they get to take that, aggressive physical running style into Class A1. You've got Brighton, Brennan Klaskin's no longer there. A very historic run for Brighton last year. What are they going to be this year? You've got Spencerport, as we mentioned, the Wing T. They're coming up. They're out of Canandaigua's bracket. Can this be the year that they finally win that sectional championship game? You've got Webster Thomas. No more Eli Adams. What is Thomas going to bring this year? You've got Webster Schroeder. Stingy defense last year. Couldn't really find a whole lot of offense. Can they put that piece together this year? And you've even got Gates Chilai. Jonathan Vance is maybe last year was the most underrated quarterback in Section 5. He could do some things with Gates Chilai. He is back for another year. He's a senior. I'm not going to, go out and say Gates Chilai is going to win the Class A1 bracket, but Gates Chilai is going to be a team that, might flirt with a, sectional semifinal, give someone team a run, make a championship game. So there's a lot going on in Class A1, and I can't wait to see how it shapes up this year.
Going off like the sectional results last year, I know some of these scores, I know it's chalk. I know like 1 ended up meeting 4, 2 ended up meeting 3, and, UPrep ended up winning it all. But I remember those games. Those games weren't blowouts by anything necessary. Brighton, they had to compete to beat that 28 win over Thomas. That was a very, very hard fought game by both sides. UPrep didn't dominate Schrader by any means. That was a 16-7 win. So this isn't like some. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect like A2 at all, but it was Canandaigua and like the rest to a certain extent. It wasn't like that in A1. So, I mean, unless Spencerport comes in and like makes it that type of bracket, which I don't know it will be the case, but it possibly could be. A1, it's any given Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day they play on, they're gonna have to bring it. Because I mean, I don't know. I'm not calling anything, but Hilton, that style of play going down to A1. We'll see if y'all boys want to fit the A gap, certain time.
Yeah, you don't want to have the week after Hilton. That's for sure in A1. Same with Spencerport. I don't know if a team plays Hilton and Spencerport back to back, but that's going to be a lot of ice baths there. And I will say for that A1, that semifinals, I believe that was a monsoon day on Friday night. If I believe that correctly, that was not a game for high scoring blowouts. So, but that goes to show you never know what Mother Nature is going to bring up, and things get interesting when it gets wet. But yeah, a lot.
Last year in Section 5, there was some funky weather going on from like middle of October on. I know the Bills experienced it a lot in their game. The high school got it the same exact way. So hopefully we get some better luck this year, man. Yeah,
it was. We can't say that enough. We need some better weather. Moving away from the football side of things, like we mentioned, girls soccer, boys soccer, volleyball kicking back up. Other sports, golf, everybody else going swimming. I got out to one girls soccer game this week. It was Fairport versus Victor. Fairport coming up with the 1-0 win. I don't think you saw the results of this game, anything like that. Carl, you want to take a guess who scored this goal for Fairport to win the game?
Fairport girls?
Yes, Fairport.
Is the LM
Think basketball.
The LM Bella show? Which one was it?
Bella Pucci got the goal. Bella Pucci.
Why should I be surprised? It's one of the two, of course.
And I will say this: I don't know if it's just because she's playing against soccer players who are not as tall as basketball players. Obviously, she looks like she grew a little bit. I'm Section 5 basketball is getting on notice. She looks bigger. She looks tougher than last year. So watch out. Bridget Mulholland in net for Fairport also made a save on a penalty kick when it was 1-0 to preserve that win. So shout out to Fairport. They had a good run last year as well. They technically co-champs in Section 5. They lost in the penalty shootout. And then also I want to talk about this. We talked about Spencerport a lot last year. They're down a run for girls soccer. Game number 1, Webster Schroeder played him to a tie, a 0-0 draw. So, and then immediately when I saw that, I was like, all right, let's see what Schroeder did last year. I didn't remember Schroeder doing a lot last year. We had this exact same conversation last year. They tied Spencerport 0-0. I can almost remember this conversation exactly. We were like, oh, wow, look at this, 0-0. So who knows Spencerport, who knows Schroeder? Schroeder didn't exactly parlay that into strong sectional success, but Megan Fryan, that 9 saves. So the shots were 9-4 for Spencerport. So clearly, Spencerport seemed to control the play, but game 1, Spencerport, we'll see. We'll see what happens this year. We'll see.
Tip my cap to the Lady Warriors, because that's no small feat in itself. Shout out to the Lady Warriors.
Exactly. And then, like we said, first week of football frenzy. We got a lot of great games on the schedule today. This might be my line to start the show. There's this saying, save the best for last. Section 5 football did not listen to that this year. We got some great games on tap. Carl, what is a game you've got your eyes on for this week in week 1?
I don't know if it needs some grand introduction. Aquinas, McQuaid. Two rival schools, two the big private schools around here. They link up week one. Both teams, lose a lot, and we'll see what young guns are ready to step up to the stage. Game's gonna be at AQ 6 p.m. Friday night. I'm sure both schools are gonna be well represented. I'm interested to see, just because both teams lost a lot, but I know there's gonna be some guys, some future guys who maybe can play at the next level as well that are gonna be at these schools. So it's not a lot really to uncover here, because both teams lost so much. But I just know it's two teams with a lot of talent, I'm sure. And it's McQuaid Aquinas. Come on, I'm locked in. I know that's cheap, but come on, it is what it is.
Sometimes you just got to call like you see it. Last year, the past 2 years, both met in the sectional championship game with. Was it? It might have been Victor actually last year, it was Victor in 2019. I think it was McQuaid and Aquinas the last 2 seasons. And then they met in the regular season last year. That was that other weird weather game where it got, started a little late. I think it might have. And then we had to delay. We got delayed again. Eventually, Aquinas ended up losing as they went for 2 and didn't get it. So that was a wild game. I'm going to check the weather forecast as I speak right now. Right now, we've got a little sun emoji, no clouds, no rain, no nothing. So it looks like we got a good night for football. So hopefully things go strong for, that game and all these games coming up this week. And then I've got my eyes on a Class B showdown. Wayne versus Batavia. We've got Batavia, the defending Class B champions. You got Wayne. Gone Mason Blankenberg. Batavia the same. Gone Jesse Reinhardt, both of their starting quarterbacks. So a really interesting battle in week 1. Those were, along with HFL, those were the teams at the top of that section last year. No real reason to think that might not be the case this year. You've got Livonia also in Class B as well this year. So maybe that turns into a 4-man race. But that's a good game in week 1. That's going to be out in Wayne.
Oh, I was thinking it was going to be on Batavia, because you know how I feel about Batavia. The one time I went out there where it was the Batavia HFL game, and I felt like I was back in college a little bit with some of the theatrics that was going on in the crowd. But yeah, for sure. All right, Wayne, Batavia, we'll take that circus out to Wayne and see what's going on there. But yeah, Class B definitely got some heavy hitters, and those two are definitely amongst those.
Definitely. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up for you in week 1 on Football Frenzy. We're going to be at a lot of games Friday and Saturday. We'll have a lot of stuff for you on next week's High School Huddle. We are back, the High School Huddle. Once again, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any place you catch your podcasts, rochesterfirst.com, all that good stuff. We're back. Also, let us know if you listen this far. Is there a site that you listen to your podcast that we're not on? We'll get it up there for you. We've got the capabilities. We can make some things happen for you. So we appreciate you guys all for listening, Von Miller included. Thanks for listening to the full High School Huddle podcast this time around. For Carl Jones, I'm AJ Feldman. It's time to break the huddle. We will see you next week after a good game of week 1 action.